This is where the fun begins.
Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Say my name.
And here we go.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Realish. I'm Derrick.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm Matthew.
Yes,
back
sir.
for another week. How you doing, Derrick?
Yes,
Good
sir.
to see you. We talked yesterday, I know, but
Yeah,
how you been, man? How you
yeah,
been?
I'm good, man. You know, living a dream. How you been?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. A lot of schoolwork near the end of the semester over here, so
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
I'm just
right.
looking forward to working over. We're obviously working on the podcast,
Yeah,
doing work that extends beyond this too. So I just want to rest.
yeah. You got a
and
nice
feel
break coming
stress-free.
up, don't you?
Yeah, about time. I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah.
it's this nice 2.5 month break, and get back into swinging these again. So I'm looking forward to it.
That's
Looking
good,
forward to
man.
it.
That's good. That's good. Well, as you guys know, Jessica's not with us for at least a couple episodes, so we will probably see her again in I'd say maybe like 3 weeks or so. But until then, we'll hold down the fort. Christina will be coming back with us next week. I know a lot of people actually, send us some feedback on that, and loved hearing her insight. So she will be back with us next week to discuss. As you already see, we're talking about Euphoria today, so we'll be talking about season 1 of Euphoria. So she'll be coming back with us next week to discuss season 2. But real fast, because Matt and I are itching to get into this discussion, man. So we're not gonna hold too much time discussing all this other stuff, but did want to kind of get into touch up on some news. What was I don't know the name of the character, so you go ahead and bring this in, Matt. Bad Bunny is going to be playing who?
Yeah. So he's going to be playing this character called El Muerto. The context is CinemaCon was a few days ago.
Yeah.
Studios have been doing a number of presentations on their upcoming projects, and me and Derrick, as well as Christina last week, talked in length about our sort of issues with what Sony is doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of them is just they do not understand what the audience wants. So instead of giving us like a Miles Morales film or a Spider-Man 2099 film, they're making a spin-off villain movie again about El Muerto, and he's a wrestler, and he only appeared in 2 comic issues. That's it. He's only had 2 comic book appearances.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't even know who the hell that is.
I found out about him that same day. I was confused.
Okay.
I thought maybe he was like this, well-known character.
Mhm.
I thought he was like the wrestler he Spider-Man faced off against in the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. That's what immediately came to mind. But yeah, that's just reprehensible.
I mean, I'm assuming that part of the reason why they're casting him for it is because he's been doing some spots with WWE, I think, in the last couple of years. But I mean, he's a rapper, right? I don't even listen to his music, so I don't even know much about him to have an opinion about him. But I find it interesting that they're deciding to go with him as the main villain, because if he hasn't had any acting spots, it'd be very interesting that his first one, and I mean first one that I've known of. I don't know if he has done acting before, but first one being a villain that no one knows.
I as much as I try to lengthen this discussion, I just have no words. You know what I mean? Like I can't. Nothing I say is sarcastic enough or funny enough to explain what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna leave it as they're desperate to make money.
Yeah.
Which is weird because you think after Morbius being a financial failure, they'd reconsider their approach. Why don't we actually have listen to the fans? You have an amazing animated franchise just started with Into the Spider-Verse, right?
Yeah.
So you can easily sort of stick to the animation field. Yeah, exactly. And then you can bring elements of that into a live action setting, but you don't. So I'm done. I said it before. I'm not gonna support another Sony Marvel movie again.
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's it for me.
Yeah.
So you can do whatever you want. If people watch it, that's great. If you like it, that's great. And if you don't, we understand why. So
Yeah. I
I
mean,
just
and like you said, they did this this movie with Morbius that didn't even make what they expected it to make. So I would think that money talks, but if it doesn't, then it doesn't. I don't really care about them. Like I said last week, I'm not paying to go see a movie. I will watch it on a platform I'm already a subscriber to, and leave it at that. I'm not paying Sony to waste my time. But
yeah yeah
no,
that
go ahead, go
I
ahead.
understand.
Good.
That I has just that's all I can say, bro. I just sorry, I was gonna wipe my nose real quick,
It's
but
all good, man.
no.
Yeah.
Um, I, I'm lost for words. I can't even. That's how bad it is. Like I literally can't articulate myself right now.
And
But
are we gonna see Spider-Man in this? That's another thing. Are we seeing Spider-Man in this, or is it just what's his name is Miyerto? Is it just him? Like, how does this? I don't. Whatever. Sony, have fun.
yeah, yeah,
Waste your money. Good luck to Bad Bunny. But um, I'm not paying you guys. So another thing that came out with that whole I think it was CinemaCon.
that's right. Yeah,
Was that Avatar 2 is actually coming out. They released the release date, which I believe is December 16th.
yeah, that's right.
And
That's right.
the name of it is Avatar. What is it? Into Water or something like that?
The Wave of
The
Water,
Way
if
of
I'm not
Water.
mistaken.
Avatar: The
The
Way of
Way of
Water.
Water. Yeah,
Yeah,
Way of Water.
I
Yeah.
find it very interesting because I gave up on seeing a sequel for this film. I think it's been like 13 years since the first Avatar came out, so they're gonna actually um, they are actually going to re-release it in theaters remastered. So I'm interested in seeing what the sequel's gonna look like, but I think they filmed four movies at once basically.
Yeah.
So we'll actually see the third, fourth, and so on for as long as I guess everything comes out on time.
Yeah, and the biggest question I have is if, hypothetically speaking,
Hmm.
if Avatar 2 turns out to be a failure at the box office, that is,
Hmm.
what do they do with the sequels?
They still release them.
You
They,
know what I
they've
mean?
they've already put
So,
all their money into the production aspect of it.
yeah,
It would be a complete waste to not release them. So they're still gonna get released, but I hope. Look, you've had 13 years. You know what I'm saying? You've had 13 years to make this movie, so this better not be bad. That's all I know.
it's
This better
they
be
played a
really
very
good.
they played a very dangerous game by investing in four sequels
Yeah,
that I think across the board cost upwards of $1 billion easily.
easily, easily.
Um, so best of luck to them. I might watch it out of sheer curiosity.
Did you
I
watch
don't
the
even
first one?
remember. I don't remember. I the only experience I had with Avatar, I think they came out with a video game on the 360 years ago. So
That's
that was my sort of
right. They
introduction
did. Okay. Okay.
into the universe. But
Okay.
I can't remember if I saw. I'm pretty sure I did, but it was probably so long ago that everything was forgettable to me.
Yeah, I'm
You know,
definitely rewatching the film again. I loved it. It was James Cameron does a great job of capturing different elements in his movies, and the world that's in the film. I forgot the name of it. Like, this is how far removed I am
Pandora.
from the Pandora. Thank you. But the elements that they had within the film for that time that came out in '09, for it to look as vibrant and brilliant as it did back then, I'm excited to see what they do, because I know he did I think he just got a record, the world record for the deepest dive with a submarine.
Really?
I want to say that was like 2 or 3 years ago though, and he was filming footage for the film. So I think
Yeah, that's right. That's
yeah,
right.
so I think
Yeah.
that I'm excited to see what that looks like. Um, we'll see. We'll see. I think it's gonna do well. I think it's gonna do well. But this is
Yeah.
again, it's 13 years. Like everyone that was waiting for this film when it came out, oh nine. Like I thought 2011 was like maybe the latest we'd see a sequel come out. But one thing I can appreciate about James Cameron is that he actually takes his time. So I expect this to look beautiful. I expect the story to be coherent and concise. You know, I expect it to be rock solid. Um, but I gotta watch the first film again. I forgot way too much of that storyline to even be able to speak on the actual story and knowing what it's going to be about. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be nice.
Yeah. Biggest question, or the biggest question, but the biggest point I'll bring up is, I think, you know, I've watched. So let me clarify. So I've watched scenes from Avatar, but like
Okay.
I said, I don't remember watching the film in its entirety.
Hmm.
So there's definitely a lot of visual flair. But does it have the substance, right? Does it have
Hmm.
compelling characters, an engaging narrative, all that? So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to getting a chance to experience it the way it was designed, hopefully,
Yeah.
in a theatrical setting.
Yeah.
Given Cameron's ambitious efforts to make the film feel alive. So
Yeah.
we'll see. It's like I said, it's a very bold investment on the part
It
of
is.
Disney and Fox.
Yeah.
So, well, actually, I think Fox probably went through the investment because I think these film sequels were already in development
Hmm.
before Disney acquired Fox, anyways. But
Hmm.
still, I mean, that's like I said, upwards of $1 billion plus
Yeah.
for these
Yeah.
movies alone, without accounting for marketing. So,
Yeah.
best of luck to them, and we'll see what the final product looks like. Either in a
Yeah.
trailer or not a good trailer. What it
We'll
looks like
we'll likely get
December.
a trailer toward like October, I think. Somewhere in that range, I think.
Yeah. Probably
Yeah.
like I say June probably June, July.
We might get a
I would say
teaser for
the
sure.
teaser
Yeah, we
and
might
then
get one of
like an
those
official
teasers.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because it would be nice to see what the footage looks like. That's what I'm really just anxious to see. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, we got that coming out, and there's already it's already been confirmed that the Batman has a sequel to it. Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz will be returning to the sequel. So I'm excited about that. But I'm excited to see what this looks like in terms of like who they're going to choose to be the villain. I'm really praying that they're not bringing that specific Joker in, because that Joker, I no, I don't want to
From the
see
end
that.
credit scene.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see
Yeah,
that.
I think and this is something I neglected to mention last week, and that was I feel like the scene. I feel as if Matt Reeves, the deleted scene, right,
Hmm. Hmm.
was something he filmed without too much interference by Warner Brothers. I think they
Yeah,
probably said, "Hey, maybe try to find a way to incorporate Joker,"
yeah,
to which he did. Because from what he implied in interviews, it seems as if he removed it from the film, like he
yeah,
himself removed it. So
yeah.
I think Warner Brothers, when he probably showed them the director's cut, said, "Yeah, we want Joker,"
Yeah.
and I feel like that was more of like a studio mandate in a sense of we don't since you deleted this, we don't have to commit to that design,
Hmm.
voice, laugh, etc. Well, laugh, etc. So whatever's in the end credit scene, right? That way they had. I feel like that was like their intention with it, because if
Yeah,
fans don't like the design, the canon uh interaction, right, and everything is him laughing in the jail cell.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and we
yeah,
don't know what he truly looks like
yeah.
compared to the other
which
scene. So
which is what I'm glad about, that they decided to delete that scene, because I think it took away from the Riddler, for sure. If they kept that scene in, it would have taken way too much away from the Riddler.
Not only that, they reveal uh the revelation, and that
That's
Riddler
right.
views itself
That's right.
as a nobody, right? So
Yeah.
I think Joker would have ultimately just been there to reinforce themes that we could have discovered ourselves,
Hmm.
not even 15 plus minutes later,
Right.
right? And that was
Right.
in the middle of the film too. So
Yeah.
this was in
Yeah.
the midst of Batman conducting his investigation. So
Yeah.
yeah, that definitely would have undermined Batman and Riddler's confrontation with each other.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was a smart decision on the part of Reeves. It was
Very
really
smart.
cool. I
Yeah.
think it was beautifully directed. Greg Fraser is a phenomenal cinematographer.
Yeah.
The way he used the lighting in the scene,
Mm-hmm.
or even the way like Matt Reeves purposely chose to show like parts of his face,
Yeah.
parts of Joker's face as opposed to his full one.
Yeah.
And
Just give
design
us a
looked cool.
teaser.
It looked really cool.
Yeah, just give
Looked
us a
all
teaser.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
need to.
yeah.
I didn't need to see the whole thing, and I just hope again they kind of do a little different with the design of that Joker. If we're gonna see that one, I'm fine with it, but I want to see a better design on him because that it just something about him I didn't like the look. I wasn't
Yeah,
feeling that.
I love his design. Honestly,
I didn't like it. It's just weird.
I'll take it over. Listen, I don't mean to be that kind of person. I'll take it over Jared Leto's damage tattoo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, see, the thing
I,
is, I actually didn't mind the tattoos so much because mainly because the one he had on his hand was that big smile. So whenever he would put his hand over his face, it had that look that we're used to with the cartoons. So it brought that element to it. So I was actually okay with it. I didn't I actually ignored the tattoos probably like 5 seconds after seeing it because I was paying more
yeah,
so to I was paying more attention to the performance itself. The performance was amazing. The performance was amazing. The tattoos were a distraction, but yeah, the performance was just phenomenal,
yeah.
phenomenal.
His interpretation was very odd, and I think in large part that's
Yeah,
due to either the studio or the screenwriter just not having a clue of Joker's character, of who
yeah,
Joker's character actually is.
hmm
And again, I'm not all for comic accuracy, but you have someone as deranged as Joker. There's only so many different ways you can take him.
yeah, for
So
sure, for sure.
that's sort of where I lie on the matter. But yeah, Batman sequel
Yeah,
should be great. A few spin-offs are coming out on HBO Max, so we'll see. What comes of those and the preceding months,
yeah,
probably years before they even come out. So
yeah. It's gonna
it's
be
gonna be a long
nice.
wait,
Yeah, yeah,
sadly.
for sure,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. I'm looking forward to it. So, before we go ahead and cut into our break, because Matt and I are gonna get into this. We've been itching to get into Euphoria, so we're gonna cut this segment really short. But is there anything you've been watching this week that you wanted to share about?
um, yeah, that's a good question. The only thing, you know what, I'm oh I'm glad you asked that. Because this is one of the few opportunities I can pull the shameless plug in. If any of you have not watched Arcane on Netflix, it is
Oh
based on a
yeah,
video game,
yeah.
but has arguably some of the best animated characters you will find. Watch it, because chances are the second season will be canceled with Netflix pretty much shutting down their entire animation department.
Yo,
So
that's
get a chance to
wild.
experience it. Yeah, it's nuts.
That's wild.
So that's all I'm gonna say. So I appreciate you for asking me
Yeah,
that.
yeah. No doubt, no
Get a
doubt.
chance to experience it before it's gone forever.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not, but
Yeah,
that's my thing.
you told me about that like a month ago, and I completely forgot about watching it. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely
No,
check
you're all
that
good.
out.
There's a lot to digest, and I get overwhelmed too.
Yeah,
Sort of like
yeah,
scrolling through all these streaming services and figuring out what I want to watch for the day.
yeah.
It's
But
rough, man.
it's also knowing like what we're gonna watch for this show. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so much
Yeah, yeah,
that is I keep forgetting about certain projects and to go back and check out. So I'm gonna definitely check that out. I what is this is Saturday? So we record this on Saturday. So you guys, by the time you hear this, I'll be further into it. But I just started watching Ozark, the second part of season 4. Started watching that last night. If have you seen Ozark at all?
never.
Okay, you're one like me that loves that type of story that's developed well, right?
That's right.
Watch it. Watch it. I think it's one of the best projects that Netflix has come out with. If you don't include the last season of oh my god, what was that show with oh my god, I'm blanking here. I'm blanking here. What the hell?
You said last season, so I'm gonna take a whack at it and think it's a Game of Thrones you're
N-
thinking of.
no, on Netflix.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. I know you're trying to like
Frank
draw a
Underwood.
comparison with a.
Yeah, Frank Underwood was the character. House of Cards. Jesus, I don't know how I forgot that. But if you take away the very last season of that show, um, those are like the top projects on Netflix in my opinion in terms of story development for a series. I think I think from what I've seen, I haven't watched every series on Netflix, but those are the top two that I love in terms of development and storyline, and uniqueness. It's unique. So I would say, since you're a fan of that, please check out Ozark, because Ozark is just absolutely amazing. It's a little slow in the beginning, but it's slow on purpose. Like
Okay.
you've gotta develop and build, and I think it's one of those shows that once all is said and done, that's probably gonna be one of Netflix's best series like ever.
No,
Ever.
yeah, that I'll definitely check it out. Obviously once we finish up with
Oh
Euphoria,
yeah.
because I know we're gonna do season one and then obviously season two the next week. And you just reminded me. Um, I started watching. I'm a huge fan of the show Barry on
Oh,
HBO.
that's right. Yeah.
The dark comedy. So the first episode premiered last week Sunday.
Okay.
I had a chance to watch season three because I watched the first two seasons last summer.
Oh, okay.
And I binge watched it.
Okay.
So when I binge watch something, I normally tend to forget characters' names. That wasn't
Hmm.
the case because every episode is anywhere from 24 to 26 minutes.
Oh,
Usually, I think
got you. Yeah.
the premiere episodes are usually the longest, obviously, because you have to set up what's going to happen.
Hmm.
Um, but when I tell you that it somehow combines drama and comedy so perfectly, I sincerely
Really?
mean that. Like the
Okay.
show is truly special. So, with the episodes being as short as they are, I think you find great enjoyment out of watching. I think Barry is a very fascinating character to watch. He's very morally reprehensible, yet there's a
Yeah.
weird like relatability to him
Okay.
that you'll discover. So, yeah, I mean, the premise is literally him being a hitman who wants to become an actor.
Now that okay, I'm actually
Yeah,
intrigued by that. I'll check that
that's all
out.
I'm gonna say.
I'll check that out.
So if we get a chance, that's great. But yeah, but I appreciate you for asking me that question though, because I would
Yeah.
have, forgotten about it, and everything, because I've
Oh,
been
for
focused
sure.
so much on Euphoria that everything's kind of like merging together into one thing. So
Yeah, no, same here, man. Same here. But yeah, let's we're gonna go ahead and take a break real quick. I do want to say real fast that this show is being brought to you by Champ Number One Boxers. We OTS has its first sponsor, so I want to definitely want to shout them out. Say that please, if you want to support us and what we're doing, just go to the link in our bio, look for Champ Boxers, and you can make your purchase through that link, and that'll help support us as well. But I can honestly say, um, I've worn these for the last 2 weeks, and I've been just seeing how they feel and everything like that. These are the best boxers I've ever worn. So anyone that has that thing where you want something that feels good, that looks good, I would definitely suggest go and get these. Because before this, I was wearing Under Armour, and this is something that's perfect for you to go through your day with or work out in. And they have things for men and women. So please go check them out. Thank you to Champ Number One Boxers for being the first sponsor of OTS. So we just want to shout them out real quick and say that. So yeah, definitely go to the link in our bio uh, at OTS Media Co. All social media platforms. You can check out the link there, and it will direct you to their website, and you can get whatever you want from there. So thank you guys again, and we will be right back with our review on season 1 of Euphoria.
Why, hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. My name is Jessica Lemon, and I am the host of Sour, Sweet, and Spooky, a paranormal podcast with a little true crime squeezed in. Because where there's paranormal activity, there's gotta be some kind of true crime involved, right? I talk about ghosts, aliens, murder, cryptids, urban legends, conspiracy theories, and more. Stories from all over the world for you to enjoy every week. So check me out on social media at Sour Sweet Spooky and pretty much every platform that podcasts are found. And be ready for a brand new story. Oh, and remember, stay sour, stay sweet, stay spooky.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? We are back. I'm Matthew, of course, with my co-host Derrick as well. So we're gonna go ahead and shift our discussion to a little show called Euphoria, right? Released on HBO Max, the first season that is, in 2019, starring Zendaya, directed by Sam Levinson, etc., etc. And to give you a brief synopsis, it just basically follows a group of high school students navigating through a very complicated world. Sort of paraphrase version of the synopsis on HBO Max. So we have a lot of thoughts. I'm really going to struggle throughout this discussion to articulate myself. So, obviously I have Derrick here to, let me know if it needs clarification. Let me know.
I got you.
So I think let me start off with asking, what are your thoughts on the show, right? Like, what were your biggest takeaways? I know this show was very popular. A lot of discussion, a lot of hype was surrounding it. Do you think if it filled your expectations, or was it, something you think, yeah, I really don't know what's so special about it.
So, okay, I actually avoided this show. I've avoided this show for the last 3 years. I did not want to get into it. I didn't want to watch it. Um, but it was before I even really knew what it was about. Like, I love Zendaya, but I saw little clips or whatever, but I didn't really care too much. Um, but the more I heard about it, everybody's just going on and on and on about how this is one of the best shows and everything like that, right? So I decided, all right, let me go ahead and check this out. I watched the first episode maybe about 2 months ago, and I was disgusted. I was absolutely disgusted. I It didn't meet my expectations because my expectations were this is one of the best shows on HBO. Like Game of Thrones, for example. You take out the last season, Game of Thrones is like just this phenomenal project. Great storyline, all that stuff, right? Um this did not meet that. And the way that everybody's been talking about it, I'm thinking this is going to be a phenomenal story. This was basic. This is um put it like this. I didn't want to watch it because of the fact that this was supposed to be high school students and they're having sex. That like really rubbed me the wrong way and disturbed me deeply to even think about watching it. And I know the cast is probably like in early to mid 20s anyway, maybe late 20s, but they're high school students as characters. You know what I'm saying? You can, to me, you can portray, you can actually get the same point across without showing something. It can be more so suggestive. I know this is HBO, so the likelihood of them just showing suggestive things is very slim to none. But this felt wrong to watch. This felt wrong to watch.
Yeah,
I was disgusted.
no, I will say that is my biggest issue with the show right out of the gate. I watched the
Yeah,
first episode and I felt physically uncomfortable and sick.
yeah,
To
yeah.
watch these very sexually explicit scenes. And to your point too, I realize the actors or actresses are in their mid or early to mid 20s, but these are high school students. These are minors. We do
Hmm.
not have to see all of these private parts for you to communicate this idea of teenagers being very sex obsessive, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And it's disgusting. I really don't think you can
yeah,
justify what's being shown on screen. I really
yeah,
don't, given
yeah.
their age. I was uncomfortable for a number of scenes,
Hmm.
many scenes.
Hmm.
And right out of the gate, I sort of, you know, I have, because we rate, shows or any project I got out of 5 ticket subs, right? So
Yeah.
I usually have that rating in my head, and if I
Hmm.
see a particular fault, I'll imagine, like I'm taking out like half a stub. I
Hmm.
automatically went down to a 3,
Yeah. Yeah.
by out of principle, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I said, all right, so you're gonna keep doing this. I mean, I can't, like, I can't be the one to stop you, but I'm not gonna sit around and say I feel comfortable watching this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It is what it
Yeah.
is. I don't have any control over Sam Levinson, over HBO, of what they allow on their platform. I can just speak
Hmm.
my mind freely. We can speak our minds freely. So
Yeah.
my counter to that is, okay, well, let's see what the show has to offer, right? Like, what's the actual substance? Like, what are the themes they want to communicate? And
Hmm.
to what we discussed or off camera is, I mean, these characters aren't very compelling from my point of view. None of them
Yeah.
experience like substantial growth. There's a lot of them going through experiences, but not learning from them. And really, the
Right.
only
Right.
exception to that is Rue, because obviously, Rue, for example, is a drug addict and with a very tragic history. So it's understandable that she like enters this very like perpetual cycle of depression and darkness, using drugs to cope with her problems. But
Hmm.
I mean, what other justifications do characters have? I mean, you deliver. Sorry, I feel like I'm rambling on a bit, but
No. No.
so feel
Sure.
free to interrupt me. But a lot of the episodes start off with expository dialogue of a person's backstory, and there's some sites
Hmm.
brought into fruition in a later scene, but that's it. It's just like one single scene connects to the opening of of the character of who's being described,
Hmm.
and it's just a lazy way of development, so to speak. It's just a lot
Yeah.
of characterization, and that's it. So that was the point I was going to ask you, so I can shut my mouth. And that
No. No. You're
was,
good. You're good.
were there any characters you felt stood out to you? Like, is there one that you think that you want to obviously get into a bit more detail about what they could have potentially done better, or one that was actually good for who they were? Something along those lines. Sorry, a little question, but
No. No.
you know,
You're good. You're good. I. I. I honestly don't know, man. I like this is one of the few times that I can honestly say that when watching something, I'm not personally attached to a character. Um, I can relate. I relate. Maybe put it like this. I can relate to Rue a little more. Uh, because I understand the battle of depression. Um, but hers was different because she's trying to even figure out if she's even bipolar. She's a drug addict, all that stuff. So hers goes really really deep. Um, but that was probably the most in terms of relating to a character, but wanting to find out more about a character. I was actually um intrigued that Gia, her little sister, wasn't shown a lot. That was probably the one that I can honestly say that I thought they probably should have incorporated a little bit more because of the fact that
for sure,
she was actually she was very traumatized, right? Lost her dad, walked in finding her sister overdosed. You know, Rue is actually in a coma for I think they said like 7 days or something like that, 4 or 7 days. So she went through a lot of stuff, and the only thing that we're really seeing with her is that she smoked weed. I was kind of intrigued we didn't get to see more of her. Storm Reed in general is a really good actor. So this was 2019, so maybe this is toward the beginning of her career anyway. So maybe that's probably why she didn't get as much screen time. But which I'm assuming in season 2 she got a lot more. I don't know anything about season 2 yet, so I haven't heard anything about it. So I'm just assuming based off of her rise a little bit over the last couple of years that she has a little more screen time, and I hope they actually develop her character more, because I think that she's going to be a very integral part of what happens to Rue. I think that if we've already seen Rue like spiral out of control, right? I think there will be no more control if something happens to Gia, for example.
Yeah.
Um, she's kind of the one character that kind of outside of Jules, she's the one character that kind of helps ground her and brings her back to reality. So I think that I'm intrigued to see what happens to her in season 2. But I was very I was disappointed how they utilized Gia. I really was, because she was someone that had such a strong presence on screen every time they showed her that you don't really have her on there that much. Get it, but at the same time, I thought they could have done more with her.
Yeah. No, definitely. I also feel, and I think, I'll, say this. I'd rather just say this out loud right now, and that's, it oversimplifies issues, real world
Yeah,
issues.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah,
characters who really don't suffer the consequences of their actions, and very few of them actually do in the show. Very few,
yeah,
that is, right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, so you have, I'll just jump forward.
Go
So,
ahead,
like
go
I said,
ahead.
it's kind of gonna go. You're not gonna be in chronological order for every episode, but
Yeah.
there's a character named Maddie. She suffers abuse at the hands of another character, her boyfriend Nate Jacobs.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, um, basically, she files like a false police report and says that, and confirms that, this person assaulted me just to be in support of her boyfriend. And my concern is, you set a very dangerous stereotype in that a person who is, constantly abused, it sort of it has no way of escaping that relationship,
Mm-hmm.
either out of fear or because they have a certain love for them,
Mm-hmm.
so that's sort of my, like I said, it's kind of stuff like that, which is a bit perplexing to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot of just like characters experiencing things, and honestly, it felt like, especially with how disorganized some of the episodes felt, where they would cut away to like another character and then like jump
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
in time for a brief moment. It was getting a bit confusing,
It
and that's
was.
why I wasn't really wasn't able to understand, what the overall message of the show is, and really
Mm-hmm.
why I couldn't attach myself to one single character, because
Yeah.
they had so many to tackle. They didn't know how to dedicate their time
They didn't
properly.
pace it well at all. They didn't.
Yeah,
I think that's you hit the nail on the head with that one, because I was finding myself struggling getting through this outside of just the sex aspect of the show, right? Take that out of it. I was finding myself struggling to get into this show, right?
yeah,
I avoided, because we said we were going to record this Sunday. We had to push it to Saturday, push back to Saturday, but um I didn't start watching this until Wednesday or Thursday. Just
yeah,
because I just couldn't even fathom even getting into it. I did not want to, um, at all. But I think this, if I had to summarize the show itself, I would honestly say that this is probably a more dramatized, sexualized Dawson's Creek. I really, and maybe not even just Dawson's Creek. I felt kind of had more of a balance in terms of uh, drama and levity, but they also developed their characters kind of well. Um, and I know, and for anyone in the audience, I know it's very weird for a black guy to say anything about watching Dawson's Creek. I had basic cable growing up, so sue me. Um, but Dawson's Creek is something that I think that was just like an okay show. This to me is just that on steroids in terms of the dramatization and sexualized themes. I really don't see what everyone is hyping this show up to be. Uh, uh, as one of those great shows, but I think I don't think they developed a lot of great things with Nate's character at all. Like Nate was one of those characters that to me just kind of he was just there, and whenever you needed to progress a story about Rue or Jules or even his dad or whatever, he was kind of thrown into it. Um, because I don't even know which episode was that. Was that the last episode? He kind of like had like a psychotic break or something like that.
Oh, when his dad held him to the ground. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Did you not find that weird?
Yeah, and here's my thing. So I the second episode, and I'm gonna use that
Go ahead. Go ahead.
to connect this to the finale, right? So we discover Nate's father um has a. I kind of want to be careful with the words we use on here because I'm not. When we upload on YouTube, I know they're a bit weird about certain words, but he has a certain collection. Like if you know what I'm getting to, the PO. I think we've talked about like sex. I think you know what I'm getting at. I just don't want to use the
Yeah.
word.
Yeah, I got you.
And a lot of which from my understanding is him deciding to do certain things with minors. One of them was
Mm-hmm.
Jules, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's discovered that Nate, came across that collection at a young age, so he sort of grew detached from his father, and didn't feel comfortable around them. So my confusion, and I agree with you there, is that, their relationship was obviously almost one sided. It was a lot of like strict, straight to the point conversation, nothing more. And then out of
Mm-hmm.
nowhere, Nate suddenly has the I want to say like the confidence, but sort of like the like the anger,
Mm-hmm.
to face his father. It was just a
Mm-hmm.
lot of it was just like sudden shifts in characters, and to see him suddenly break down was a bit confusing to me because they didn't really take the time to explore how traumatic seeing your father in his videos can be at a young age.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of, and that's really what my main issue with the show is because they have so many opportunities to to go more in depth with characters, but it honestly feels like they were forgetting subplots. And it was a lot of, oh, wait a minute,
Yeah.
we actually created that for like episode 2. Let's find a way to to pivot that to the valley somehow, have everything
Yeah.
feel like interconnected. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it was a lot of loose planning, as if it was just
Yeah.
like like sporadic ideas that as an audience we think we're trying to have, like we're just expected to analyze it and think, oh no, you have to show it to us. Like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
know what that implies for
Mm-hmm.
characters, but you
Mm-hmm.
need to show us that like that has an effect on their personal life.
Yeah.
And because
Yeah.
Nate is nothing more than a narcissistic manipulative person.
Yeah.
That's all he is.
Yeah.
He's simply there to cause trouble for those around him. That's it. You're absolutely right. There's nothing compelling to him. I think it would have been fascinating to actually, what with having that backstory in mind.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand why he has such a weird, um, sort of a perception of woman, especially when he first started dating Maddie. Before he became an abusive a hole.
Yeah.
Because I hate saying this, but before they, he had asked her like, "Are you a virgin?" All that
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and like
Yeah.
Brew was narrating over that, saying, he felt satisfying knowing that he could be hers, essentially,
Yeah.
because again, and all that. So, you know what I mean? It's just I don't know. I'm not sure. It's just I don't know.
It's weird. It's weird. I got weirded out way too much watching this, man, because like I'm fine if I'm fine if they really want to, explore the intricacies and the difficulties of high school life. Perfectly fine with that. Um, but the entire theme of season one, because this is all we're talking about, people. I don't want anyone to get upset and say, "Oh, well, they did this in season two." We're not talking about season two right now. We didn't even watch season two yet.
Yeah.
But um, I think one of the biggest issues is they, like you said, started to talk about something at one point and neglected to wrap it up. It's almost as if every episode had different writers. They wrote the story at the same time and just said, "Here, this is what we're going to do for the episode."
Yeah. No, definitely.
Not develop
It felt
anything.
that was my main. Actually, the word I used to describe the show was disorganized.
Yes, yeah,
This felt
perfect,
like
perfect. Yeah.
the way the show was. This felt like a high school presentation with
Mm-hmm.
when someone didn't do the proper research. You know what I
Right.
mean? It just felt
Yeah.
like here's one thing, here's one thing, here's one thing, here's one thing. Let me find a way to connect everything together. There you are, and then we'll expect others around me to understand. That's not how you write a
Yeah.
TV show. There needs to be
Yeah.
actual consistency to these characters, and I realize we're talking so many negatives here. It's not to say the show is awful. The show is not totally awful by any means, for me at least, but I can't sit around and say it's some worthy masterpiece that's among the top shows on HBO when there are plenty of other ones that can better communicate these themes of sexual identity, drug addiction,
Mm-hmm.
depression, etc. And it
Yeah.
does so in a
Yeah.
way that doesn't have to make the audience feel wildly uncomfortable in the process.
Yeah. No, and I think that one of the greatest aspects of this show was the cinematography. I think that
Sure,
a lot of shots were done like very well. I that I can say I like. I love
absolutely.
that. The colors. I think that there was great choices with that. But
The music was well composed as well,
yeah, yeah, that was.
and did
But
fit the
that's
tone
it.
with scenes, but you know,
That's it to me. I don't see anything about this show that people are raving about, and we will, like I said earlier, Christine will be on to discuss season two with us. She is a big fan of Euphoria, so maybe she could fill us in on some stuff. Um, but overall, this is not. We'll give our rating later, but I'm not getting this. I'm not understanding this. Now, what I will say, Zendaya does a phenomenal job
absolutely,
of in the show in general. Like I think she is the star of the show, but she is the star of the story. Like she killed her role. Um, but what I find very interesting about her in general is that she's able to age up and age down. Like when they showed the flashbacks to her taking care of her father and stuff like that, um like actually discovering drugs for the first time and things like that, I
yeah,
think they did a phenomenal job of showing her. I think at that point she was somewhere around like 13, 14 or
yeah.
something.
13 when she tried OxyContin for the first time.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was great. That was great because she has the ability to do that. I salute her on that because like
I
even watching some of her other stuff, Malcolm and Marie was a movie she did on Netflix that came out during the like beginning of the pandemic. Uh, she looked like her age in in that movie, which was maybe like mid to late 20s, something like that. She looked like an adult. She looked like an adult. But in Spider-Man, she looks like a high school kid. So in Euphoria, she looks like a high school kid. And that I love that she's able to do that.
yeah,
I don't know how much longer she's going to be able to, but being able to see that range in this show, I thought was phenomenal. I love that. But that's probably the most praise you're gonna get from me on this show.
yeah. I will say though, and speaking to her acting performance, there was a phenomenal scene where she heads to her drug dealer's house because I think
Oh
her
yeah.
and Jules got into this argument of sorts. And actually, we'll speak more to Jules' storyline, something I 100% want to address.
Yeah, yeah.
And she basically heads to his door and says, open the door. He's like, if you don't open this, I'm gonna hate you forever. You
Mm-hmm.
did this to me. And then she starts
Mm-hmm.
sobbing. I was thinking to myself, Zendaya, you are an incredible actor, and you are the one of the few reasons why I am continuing to watch the show. Is to see
Mm-hmm.
how well she does. She
Mm-hmm.
is phenomenal in the series, and I will not take that away from her at all.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. That was a
so
heartfelt scene though, because
yeah, it was devastating.
yeah, you could see like
Devastating.
Fez on the other side of the door. He was just like, I think when she was talking, even though he denied it later on when they saw each other, um, he believed every word of what she said because he got her started, right? Like he did mess up her life. Um, so I think that I thought that was probably one of the few bright spots in this show. That scene was very heartfelt. Um,
Oh,
but that's her
yeah,
performance. Like that's Zendaya. Zendaya is
yeah.
phenomenal.
Uh,
She's phenomenal.
Another thing too is I'm trying to think of where I want to start here. Yeah, so we talked a bit about Nate Jacobs, reprehensible person. I feel like I'm using that word a lot, but that's arguably the best way to
Yeah,
describe him.
yeah, yeah.
And Fez, as we said earlier, is a drug dealer, has like a certain charisma to him, and everything like that. But at one point, Fez threatens him, him being Nate, to say, you better leave, Rue and Jules alone, otherwise there will be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Nate proceeds to call the police on him. His house is raided, and this was in episode 7, if I'm not mistaken,
I
episode
think
6
so.
or 7.
Yeah.
We go into the finale. We expect there to be perhaps, Fez being arrested, the police, barging straight into his home where his sick grandmother is staying, and nothing. Like, the only outcome we
Absolutely
know is
nothing.
just Rue saying, you didn't have any, like, when Rue approaches Nate at the Winter Farewell and says, you had something to do with that, that police raid on Fez's house, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why didn't we see the outcome of that? You know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
still I'm
I
still
was
trying to figure out
confused.
how.
I forgot that
I,
happened. Honestly,
e-
with the way it was just so nonchalantly
yeah,
played.
they
You know what I
passed
mean?
over it real fast. I was questioning not only how he was able to flush all the drugs down, but that's fine. You have all these bottles with labels on it. If the cops are raiding your house, they're not going to wait for you to open the door. If you don't open the door within a specific amount of time, they're breaking it down. You know what I'm saying? And that was one of the things I was confused by too. Like, how did any of that take place where he wasn't locked up? You know what I'm saying? Like none of that made sense to me. None of
Yeah,
that made sense to me.
I was awfully confused. I thought maybe like I was having a fever dream or something.
Yeah,
It was just
yes.
I don't know.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
I,
un-
I'm so thrown off by that. But it
yeah,
goes back to your point earlier. Like there are certain things they set up in a previous episode or earlier in the season that they didn't wrap up toward the end at all.
yeah. And another subplot I want to discuss too is Jules and Nate. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jules,
Yeah.
is transgender. And I want to say episode 4, we got backstory on her, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken, where she was taken to a psychiatric ward as a boy. But the issue I have, and I think what could have made Jules such a fascinating character, is if they had her, if we saw that transition take place. Because
Right.
the problem with exposition, because I think Jules can be a very powerful character.
Mhm.
Obviously, you know, have those who are struggling with their own identity. to come out, without fear of judgment.
Mhm.
But I feel like they almost downplayed it, which maybe that could have been intentional, right? And you know what I mean. So I feel like it would have
Yeah.
been interesting to see her because the show is already, tackling a very difficult subject matter. So I
Mhm.
feel as if that, they could have at least showed a scene or two of that transition taking place. That was sort of alluded to real quickly because she said, she hated her body,
Mhm.
her hair, so on and so forth. So she was very self-critical of herself. I don't know, or maybe it was purposely done that way, so because it was meant to show that, listen, we're all human beings, and sometimes we need to make changes that best suit ourselves. And who damn the world what they think. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure
Yeah,
what your thoughts were on that.
I
And then
completely forgot she was transgender.
yeah, yeah.
I completely forgot about that until you just said that. I don't even, because see, that's the thing. If we got to see like Kat's struggle, right? Like she struggled with her image and confidence. She
Yeah.
had a lot of insecurity, and we got to dive deep into that. We got to dive deep into uh Maddie a little bit in terms of her greed and um not wanting to um not really wanting to work and stuff like that. Like we got to experience all of that. I forgot Jules was transgender. That didn't even cross my mind the rest of the series.
Mm.
I honestly, I until you said that, I completely forgot about it. And for this to be in high school, the story to take place in high school, it would make sense that this is something that someone is dealing with, right? Like the transitioning aspect and how society feels in general about that, and like that would have been something that was easy to discuss with this show. But the
Undoubtedly.
fact that, because also like that's how she and Nate met, right? They met
Like on
on
a gay
a
dating app.
gay dating
Yeah.
app, yeah. And like they mentioned that, right? And I was sitting there thinking like, well, why is Jules on it? And then I was like, whatever, I don't even care, whatever, it is what it is. I forgot all about her being transgender. So I like, and maybe that's something, correct me if I'm wrong, that's something they discussed in episode 1, right?
Of her being transgender.
Yeah.
That I think that was confirmed in episode 4, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, unless you knew
Okay.
the actress
Was
was transgender in advance, then for obvious reasons you know that the character is as well.
No, I didn't know
At least
that.
based on the character listing, because I think they had like a character like a audition listing that came out, like giving like a description of each character, and Jules was listed as a you know a
A
trans
transgender.
transgender student
I, see,
who
I
arrives in a
didn't.
new town, stuff like that. So
Yeah,
um
I did not know that. And look, look, they've got to do a better job with this, man. I had no clue. I honestly had no clue. So this is something that, and even with, I'm pretty sure we're gonna see more of it in season 2, but the fact that Nate had all these pictures in his phone, right? Um, he kept alluding to it because Maddie opened his phone and found all these pictures of guys and stuff like that in his phone. Apparently, he's saying that there is a deeper level of context to it. It's not that these are pictures for him, but that's what he kept saying, right? But they never followed up with what the context was. What's like? Is he holding these pictures for his dad? Is he trying to blackmail someone? Like they never like go into that, like
yeah,
what the context was that he was alluding to.
that's
I like.
because I'm not sure if the context was him. That's why I'm confused. Because either those are his own picks, and
Mhm.
I think anyone watching, I think you know what we're
We
insinuating.
understand it is, yeah.
So either I was his own being sent to Jules, and that's something I want to talk about. Is that their whole relationship that develops online, and
Yeah,
I have a
yeah,
huge criticism of that.
yeah,
But yeah, it's just that's my main issue. It's just I feel like they drop so many plot lines,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's just like it ends, and I know first things gonna do, yeah, but they have a season two. Here's the thing. I'm fine with there being plot lines left open for a second season. I'm fine
Mm-hmm,
with that. But you need a satisfying way for from in our opinion, right?
mm-hmm.
To make us want to be interested.
Yeah,
When you don't have strong enough characters, I don't care what the end result is. I'm gonna
mm-hmm,
criticize you for it because I'm gonna
mm-hmm.
say, well, I don't feel any emotional connections to these characters, so you
At
should
all,
have done more to make me
at
feel
all.
something. You
Yeah,
understand what I mean?
yeah. No, I completely agree. Because I don't see what if we're not what I'm gonna say this right now. If we didn't say to watch this for this show, I'm not watching this show.
Yeah, not am I.
And if we didn't say we were gonna watch season two for next week, I'm not watching season two. I'm not compelled to watch it. There's nothing that draws me to watch this show.
Yeah,
The only thing that's drawing me to watch this is because we have a review on it. That's literally it.
yeah.
Zendaya does a phenomenal job. I think Stormy Reed does a phenomenal job.
Hunter Straight. The entire cast does a phenomenal job. Really.
The yeah
I mean,
the
minus
cast
a few weird line
for,
deliveries, but
yeah,
overall, the cast is fantastic. It's just,
I actually love Jules Hunter Schafer. I
oh
love
yeah,
her.
yeah.
I
Oh,
love her.
he's fantastic. He's absolutely
But like
fantastic.
I think individual characters. Let me put it like this: I think individual people that were casted for these roles did phenomenal in the roles that they were in. I don't think that HBO, the writers, director, I don't think anyone helped them.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone helped them because there's a lot to be left to be desired um with these storylines. I think that what they had an issue with this show is having way too many people to focus on in a short amount of time.
yeah,
Right? Like if we had 10 to 12 episodes, I think they could focus on these characters the right way. I think that we could find out a little bit more about what happened with Jules, right? Like the with the whole with her being taken to the psychiatric ward as a kid and stuff like that. I felt was kind of brushed over. They also brushed over the fact that she was a cutter, right? Like that's something else
yeah,
that
yeah,
I didn't even remember until talking to you about it right now.
yeah.
Like
Like
what there's so
interesting
many
premises,
elements.
yeah, and like very interesting premises that can really help us empathize to further empathize with these characters. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
And we even and that's before I forget. I do want to say that for the Jules and Nate relationship going on, so they're texting each other on the app. Here's the one stereotype I have always hated. It's the
Hmm.
idea, because I can tell this was made by someone, with all due respect, who has a very pessimistic view of younger generations.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Very
yeah,
pessimistic.
yeah,
Because he presents, these two as we instantly fall in love. Like, you understand exactly what I mean. Oh my goodness, you really believe in all my dreams and aspirations, etc.
yeah.
Fun fact, not every teenager acts this way. I feel like every teenager in this show fulfills some kind of stereotype and it can't escape from it.
Right,
And that's my main
right,
concern with it. That's why they're
right.
oversimplifying. It's just you have to understand that, well, yes, like some teenagers, deal with, have, you know, common ailments in life.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean every single one suffers the same issues. It's just, I don't know. It just has very dangerous stereotypes that give people a very false perspective on what happens in the real world. I'm
But
not
he's
denying that stuff like this doesn't happen on a regular basis, but
right.
the problem is you give the show to a younger person. And honestly, I want to give the show to a younger person for obvious reasons, but let's assume
Right.
so. they're probably going to look at their life totally differently and think, oh my goodness, I don't think anyone's I can't know of anyone to rely on for any of my issues. I
Um,
don't know. It's just it's very concerning.
I
I'm
I
not sure if you agree, but
no, I definitely agree with you on that. I definitely agree with you, and maybe I missed something. So please tell me if I'm wrong on this.
yeah, no problem.
Um, did they ever explain why Jules had an issue with Nate? Because when they actually met in person for the first time, thinking that she was meeting Tyler, uh, she sees him and she's just automatically disgusted, turned off. Like, no, she's starting to walk away, and she says something to the effect of like, "I don't trust you," or "You're disgusting," or something like that. It was something where she was just repulsed by him,
Yeah.
and I don't remember if they ever discussed what that reason was. Did they ever say what it was?
Of why Nate hated Jules?
No, why Jules hated Nate? Because Nate did something to Jules at some point for her to not like him. And when she saw him pull up to the park and he's walking, and you could see he's kind of just like timid walking up because you could see he's
Oh,
ashamed.
the only thing I can remember, and maybe this is a fault of the show more so, is
Hmm.
I think in the beginning, Nate was driving. What's it called? Nate was driving down the street,
Mm.
yelled a bunch of jargon at her or whatever. Jargon's not the right word. He yelled a bunch of you know, made a bunch of remarks towards her, and then she fell off her bike. That's the only like interaction I remember before they started talking. Um,
Okay,
and then obviously, so
I forget about that.
again, I hate having to talk about this, but
Yeah,
Jules ends up hooking up with Nate's father, who's significantly older. I don't want to go into
which
it. It's just disgusting.
that blew my
Um,
mind, man.
and the problem is when Nate basically it's revealed in the at least I'm assuming it's revealed in the finale that um Jules was taped. You know what I mean? Jules was taped, and when Nate approaches Jules, I know exactly what you're talking about. When Nate approaches Jules in that one episode, says
Mm.
puts his finger in her mouth and says whatever and all that stuff,
Which was weird. Like,
and then he randomly blackmails her. But I don't remember what his reason was for blackmailing. Do you? Of why he wanted to blackmail about saying how he sent like a bunch of solicited pictures and all that, basically saying how like she'd be going to like put on a sex offender
but
list
this
and,
is this
whatnot.
this this is why I'm so thrown off because I don't understand what is going on.
Yeah,
I don't get it because obviously there's some level of disgust that she has with him, but what is his reasoning for blackmailing her? I know he needs help, right, to get out of his situation. I perfectly understand that. Because he wants to set up Tyler to take on the downfall of choking Maddie, right? Completely understand that. But what is the reason that he has for going after her?
I don't know.
What is their dynamic?
Nate's hurt. Like Nate is like apparently in love with her for a bit and then turns that way. But I don't I don't know. I mean, maybe he sort of like thought up the plan of blaming because in the first episode, there's a 22. God man, every single time like I'm talking about something like weird with these characters. It just
I
it
know,
makes me
I know,
uncomfortable. But
I know.
um, basically, this 22-year-old college student ends up like kissing Maddie in the pool when she's like I think was she blacked out.
I think he was drunk, but I don't. Yeah, was
Maddie that
she blacked
is.
out or was he?
Was
Oh,
Maddie blacked
yeah.
out?
I don't
Because they
remember.
said she was blacked out
They
in like
kept
a tech.
saying
Well, she
that, so I'm
said like
assuming. I'm assuming so, but I thought that was more of an excuse than reality.
yeah, I didn't know what they were trying to communicate there, and obviously I don't want to, we're not justifying the college student's behavior.
Yeah,
Obviously, it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
we don't know
yeah.
if they were trying to if that was just from Maddie's way of saying like, oh, I was blacked out, and trying to like squeeze her way out of like technically cheating, or she
I
actually
think
was, and she was just spewing out a bunch of nonsense that the student took advantage of, which is wrong either
yeah.
way. Like either way you're looking at it, but
Well, see,
obviously,
the thing about it is, I don't even remember him asking her age, right? Like,
right,
so
right,
I don't
right.
even know that he would have I I can't say he wouldn't have still done anything, but I don't know that he would have.
Yeah,
One, but two, I think she was just trying to make Nate jealous. I don't think that this had anything to do with her actually blacking out. I personally believe that she's saying that as an excuse to justify bad behavior, weird behavior.
before we
That
knew of Nate's
yeah,
history, obviously. So obviously,
yeah,
we're to perceive like Maddie as this bad person or whatever originally, and obviously,
yeah. It's just
but
it's weird. This whole
yeah.
show is weird. The lack of connection that they have with subplots that they either forgot about or neglected altogether just boggles my mind, man. I'm so thrown by the themes in this series that I'm looking forward to us being done with the second season next week. I'm genuinely
I
looking forward
mean,
to it because I can't see this anymore.
yeah. I
Because what
mean,
was now they're supposed to be college students, right?
no, not that I'm aware of.
In season two,
No.
just is oh is it so is it like right where they leave off?
Well, I only say that because like in one of the final episodes, Kat says that she's a junior. So I don't know if they're gonna do like a huge time jump. So I think they're still in high
That's right.
school.
That's right.
So that's why I
That's
mean,
right.
they could for all we know. That I don't know what happens. I know that there are two specials, one involving Rue and then one involving Jules. I heard those are actually fantastic.
Okay.
Because maybe it's because they actually focus on like like a single character as opposed to like
The entire time.
doing everything. So maybe that will show signs of improvement. And then when we watch season two, who knows? Maybe it'll be something better. But all that being said, I can't in good conscience give this a positive rating. With all the flaws that we listed. Um,
Yeah.
it was there anything else that stood out to you? Anything else that um that you obviously want to add in terms of the
I
show?
mean, outside of what you already kind of brought up about Cal Jacobs, Nate's dad, um, we one thing that I find very interesting is that um, he has this office where he has has his entire stash locked up, right? Um, but my I can't even say intrigue. I'm confused
I
as
think
to why he has this whole collection on CD or DVD. Excuse me, DVD. In the first place,
yeah
because it's like
I
asking to be,
s-
you know,
found I
yeah.
also I asked that same question too for myself, and honestly the only possible explanation is that he's just so deranged to a point where it's satisfying knowing that he has something physical, but I feel like he's knowledgeable enough because he actually confronts Jules at the carnival, if you remember, and says,
Hmm.
"Listen, if this gets out, it'll ruin me and my family's life." So he's aware of what he's doing, but you think you take the extra precautions in making sure that such material would not be accessible
How
to
about
people around,
not on your computer?
or that too. Like,
Like,
you know what I mean? It's
how
just it's
about if you're gonna
it's disgusting either way. By the way, guys, we're not saying
it's
you know what I mean.
gross,
It's yeah.
but like they didn't know they didn't know development in terms of like hiding, like, because my thing, okay, when Nate was a kid, it's probably one thing when having everything on DVD, right? That's technology. But as time progresses, like, this is not on a computer, like, kept away.
Yeah,
Like
there's no
that's that's
rationality.
what that's there's no rationale. I don't understand anything that he's doing. He's doing that old school thing of like locking it up and everything like that. But it's just like
Yeah, and that's the thing too. And something else is that like there's we don't know what.
he knows Nate is in his stuff. That's
Yeah,
another
you
thing
know,
that's
it's just
very
we don't.
weird.
Yeah, we don't know what possesses him to do these things either. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like that doesn't just
yeah,
happen. Like no person wakes up one day and says, "I want to do such and such with a minor." You know what I mean? And none of us are going to. And there's no rationale. Like there's no justification to doing it. But
right.
have us look inside the head of a. Well, I mean, I honestly, well, what the show depicts, I really don't know if I want to see it. But metaphorically
Yeah,
speaking, have us not really understand, but just have us like see what he sees. You know, it's
I'm
just I
so
feel like
thrown off with
people.
the show, man.
That's why I'm saying like everyone is just characterized. There's no
Yeah, yeah,
depth
yeah.
to them. And
At
then one
all.
confusing
They're
thing of
very
all,
shallow characters.
yeah, and then one confusing thing of all is Maddie somehow has a disc.
Because she got it from. That's another thing.
How's
Nate
she get
had it
it?
in a book. Do you remember? Like, do you remember in the last episode? I think it was
Oh,
last one.
that
Maybe it
was
was
the brief
seven.
shot of like of the book out. Why?
In
Yeah,
a
but
book.
where do you,
Why is it in a book on
and
your
why do
desk?
you,
That's what I'm saying. Like, these people are so stupid and like. I mean, they're stupid for doing what they're doing, right? But you're you're also not being careful, like
and here's my
at the
thing,
same time.
and here's my thing too, right? I can almost guarantee. I can don't quote me on this, right? Like I can guarantee you that won't be addressed until like midway through the season of the second season. I can absolutely promise you that. I can
I'm willing to
guarantee
bet on
you
that.
I'm willing to bet on that because stuff like that, like you think will be like the first thing they address. Promise you they forget it until like
Yeah,
halfway. I
yeah,
can promise you that,
yeah,
and it's just so
yeah.
bizarre because you think, and I can guarantee you too, because you know with Maddie's track record, and again, she's someone to sympathize with, everything that she sustained from the emotional and physical abuse from Nate Jacobs, right? It's
Mm.
totally wrong. But when you're in possession of something that disgusting, your first instinct is to be turning that over to the police. And and
That's
get
the first thing you should be
and
doing.
given the nature of just I, I don't know, just having moral conscience, I guess she's probably not gonna do it. I think she's not gonna do it for the sake of the plot. I can
Bro.
you can quote me on that. I can guarantee you that's gonna be like an underlying plot thread that doesn't that doesn't get like fit like really that's just left unresolved, or it's just something that like isn't addressed until like partway through the season.
Yeah,
I guarantee you.
I'm I'm thrown off with this, man. I really don't even know. Like, we didn't really discuss Kat's whole dynamic because she
Kat
basically
was
turned
just
into a.
she was just so weird, and if the idea was that maybe she feels more confident in a sense of, or not really confident, but she feels more comfortable knowing that these desperate middle-aged men are looking to hit on what they perceive as an attractive girl. Like it's just weird,
I
and
it's
again, that
disgusting.
sets a dangerous stereotype that the people who don't feel comfortable with their body image will resort to any means possible to be given compliments or to manipulate people who are who have some of the most awkward hypersexualized mindsets just to get something out of it. It's just I don't like that for a character. There's nothing interesting about a character. It was just she was just purposely
They were too.
sexualizing herself on the internet after her tape leaked. It's just
But
so much nonsense, man.
the thing about
Weird.
that though is that they're too comfortable with portraying older people having sex with kids. They are too comfortable
No,
with
that's
that.
disgusting, bro.
Like, because even when she was at the carnival with her classmate, I forget his name, but she's at the carnival with him, and they're having fun, and then she goes to get Slurpees and comes back and sees him talking to another girl. She then goes to have sex with a guy that's been out of high school for years. Like, they didn't say how old he was, I'm willing to bet that dude was at least 25 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he asked her, "How old are you?" She goes 16. And like it almost turned him on. I'm like, "Yo, like the the show I don't know. They've got to do a better job with that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't we don't need that. We don't need that.
She
I think they could have done they could have again they could have portrayed this a lot better without showing a lot of stuff. Could have been more suggestive. Or how about this? If these kids are having sex, why are they not having sex with kids their age? You see
Wait,
what I'm
when
saying?
did
Like,
she made that comment? Cat?
yes, yes.
I don't even want
He
to try to
asked her.
remember. I don't remember.
He asked
I believe you, but I don't.
he asked her how. It was one of the things that struck me odd. He's like smoking a cigarette. How old are you, by the way? She goes 16, and then they proceed to have sex right there behind the booth. It was just like it was so weird.
Well,
Like,
I think at one point I mean there were a few times like where I walked away from my TV screen just to
yeah,
do something because I just I
yeah.
wasn't
No, I
really in the
feel
mood.
you on
You know what I
that.
mean? Like there's a few
I
times I
actually
walked away, so maybe that could
I
have
I
been.
got on I got on
But
Instagram.
yeah,
I
I
was
don't.
trying to find posts to
That's
make for OTS.
disgusting. Yeah, so stuff like
It was
that
just
is bizarre, and like I said, and I just want to preface this. Please feel free to disagree with us. You
oh,
know,
I'm pretty sure people will disagree with
you know what
us,
I mean.
but
Like, give us insight. Like, what are we missing from the show? And we're not purposely trying to label it as some of the most as among the worst television that's ever to be watched, but you know, I just feel like
I think I am.
the
I
the
think I am.
the one thing for Rue. Here's the last thing I'm gonna say for Rue. I think the ending is was bizarre. I don't know why there's a random dance number that happens near the
I
end.
didn't know if she became an
Um,
artist and we
you
started to see
know,
a
and
music
I
video,
like the
whatever.
idea of like her like symbolizing after she's reaching the top of the like basically like the pile of people and then she falls because she's falling back into her old ways again, etc.
Hmm.
But another thing too is I feel like the director Sam Levinson is very pretentious and self indulgent. I
Hmm.
feel like a lot of the time he does a bunch of useless shots that aren't in service to the story, are that are simply there to impress the audience to make up for a lack of substance in his own characters. Do
I
you
agree.
agree?
I agree with that. I agree with that. Because there was a couple of shots. I think episode two or three, where like we're seeing they got a close up on Rue, and they they bring it back on the Dolly, and you have all these students walking in front of her, and she's talking about Jules is in love or something like that. Like I thought it was a great shot. I thought it was an amazing shot, but I agree. I think that he used a lot of these cinematic portrayals to distract us from the fact that this show is not good.
Oh,
This show is not
the
good.
only
It's
shot
overall.
the only great shot I can compliment was in the finale where we see Nate dancing with the girl, and there's a few
Hmm.
again. I'm not overly familiar, so
Hmm.
would that be technically a dolly? What's the difference between a dolly and a
Which
tracking? Because there's a difference between the two, right? A dolly and a tracking shot.
well, yeah. So the dolly is it's basically you have the camera on a tripod and it goes straight
Right. Okay, I
forward
got
and
you.
backward. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you can do a lot of movement with the camera without it being much of a distraction.
So would
So to
that be an
speak.
example? The one I mentioned, like the scene I mentioned, is that an example of a dolly shot where there's like a quick
What
like zoom in on Maddie, camera cuts back the same way. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Where like Nate is dancing with the girl.
between the dancing?
Yeah, like Maddie is sitting
Yeah, I
at the
think
table, and then it's like a quick zoom in. camera flashes.
I don't
back
remember the
to.
shot too much, but I think that was a dolly
Okay.
because if I'm not mistaken, they pushed in and
They pushed in, and then they pretty much went 180 the other way, 180 or
they
90
kept
degrees. Yeah,
bouncing
they kept
back and
bouncing
forth.
back. Yeah, yeah. But the camera,
Yeah,
but the camera was like
I think
zooming
those are
direct,
dollies.
like going straight the entire time. So I think a
If I
tracking
remember
is
it
like a
correctly.
side by side
Well, yeah,
situation,
tracking
right?
is more so like when the character is actually moving. Like the camera's moving, but you're tracking along with the
Got okay, yeah.
you're
So
moving
that's what. Yeah,
along
I just
with the
want to make sure.
character.
So I only
Yeah,
asked that because I
yeah.
didn't want to actually
No, you're
use
good. You're
the
good.
incorrect terminology, and you're way
You're
more
good. You're good.
knowledgeable in that regard.
Oh, I'm
Um,
retired.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Yeah, I'm retired. But yeah, no, I think you're right, man. This is
I think Rue has potential to be a decent character, as does Jules, but nobody else in the show. I mean, you have like Lexi, who's there.
Lexi
I don't
wasn't
have
even
anything to
really
say about
shown that
her.
well. Yeah.
She's apparently the
Uh,
best friend of Rue. They reconcile every so often. That's it. Cassie is a character you're supposed to sympathize with. She willingly cheats on her boyfriend. I know she's dealing with a bunch of of tough issues and whatnot, but
I forgot all about
McKay
those
is a
two
character
things.
who's even like sexually assaulted at one point, if you remember, in his own dorm room
In
eh,
front of his
in
girlfriend
front of his
and
girlfriend, and we don't get a chance to, and I understand that earlier in that same episode for the backstory is that his father tells him like to stand strong and for him not to have any inner doubts creep into his head, but I also feel like that would be so traumatizing to a point where he needs someone to speak with. Again, dangerous stereotyping, if
bro,
that's even the word for stereotyping, but you know what I mean, like a very dangerous idea to present to the audience. So
I
it's
completely
just
forgot about McKay and
me
Cassie.
too.
I like this is I'm good. What's your rating?
Yeah, I
What's your rating, man?
So I was going to be generous and give this show a 2.5, but I have to go down. I'll I'll go down to a 2. I'll say 2. I was close. I was close to giving it a 1.5, but I'm not. I can't. I'm not gonna do that. So I'm at a 2. I
That's
can
perfectly
see. I
fine.
could see it going lower, but I can't. I can't. Out of respect to like the actual like out of respect to like certain things they accomplished in the show. But there needs to be major improvement. Like I need to see like some vast improvement going into next season. Otherwise,
Look,
I
I understand.
I'm not watching season 3. I guarantee
Oh,
you.
trust if they are doing season 3. I
Yeah,
did hear about
I
that.
heard about that a while back.
Um, I'll do it for you. I'll do 1.5. I don't get it. I really do not understand it. I don't get it. I don't get the hype. I don't get why I've heard multiple people on big platforms say that this is like a phenomenal series. Don't understand it. Y'all gotta explain this one to me, man.
Yeah, I need.
Y'all
Listen,
gotta explain it.
I'm
And the only
really.
reason why I'm giving it 1.5 is because of the actors themselves portraying their roles the way they did. That's literally it.
Yeah, listen. I maybe there might be a time where I just need someone to like really sit down and explain this show to me, and I think with Christina joining us next week, she gives some very incredible insight uh, on shows in general. I know we only had the opportunity to
She
discuss
did.
Severance with her, but I
Yeah.
know for a fact she'll add a lot a conversation for us.
Yeah.
In season 2.
I
But
actually texted her while I was watching this, and I told her I was like, I can't do it. She was laughing so hard. She understood. She was like, just watch for the cinematography, if anything. I said, yeah, trust me, we're gonna watch it, but
yeah,
I ain't there.
it's just I don't know. I mean, maybe we're skipping out on a bunch of details, but I mean, I don't know. This was just a show, and nothing was particularly impressive, minus the cinematography, performances, and music. That's all I can say. So obviously, I'm
No, I
sorry,
agree with
guys.
that.
I'm sorry we had to. I know we're usually positive for the most part, try to add in some comedy, but a show of this nature does require us to be serious. Given given this material. So obviously, out of respect to the creators and out of respect to you guys, we want to be upfront with our thoughts, and we're not gonna sit around and lie about what we think. We're gonna tell the truth, and like I said, please feel free to disagree with us and to contribute to this conversation. But yeah, that's where we stand. So that's where we stand.
Most definitely. Well, I'm good.
Yeah. I think now it's time for a bit of levity. I think.
Yeah. I don't even know where to go after this. I think I'm good.
Yeah. But
I think I'm
we'll.
good.
Are you looking forward to the specials at least?
No, I'm
See
not
if
looking
they.
forward to anything about this show.
Yeah, I mean, I found
outside of
out
our
about
conversation,
it. Yeah,
and our discussion with Christina next week. I'm not looking for anything else outside of that. This is one of those things where I can't find anything positive outside of the actual actors. I can't find anything that comes remotely close to being one of those must see shows. Again, I give it a 1.5. I wouldn't suggest it. I'm pretty sure most people have already watched it. I'm good. This show is not all that.
yeah. Um, yeah, that's
I
it,
think
man.
we're at a loss for words, man.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and sign out, man, because I think that's it for us today, bro.
Yeah. This is a very depressing episode. Jesus. Yeah, so you can you can find you can find me over on Instagram, Matt_T29. The last thing I do want to say is thank you for all the support, for all your feedback. We appreciate it, and of course, thank you to Derrick for having me on as co-host for the past few weeks now. I've been having a nice time. Maybe we didn't have that good of a time
Man.
today. We're sorry. We wish we could have been more entertaining for you guys, but we tried. We didn't go into the show not wanting to like it. It's just I didn't even know. I knew nothing about this show. Very
I
very limited at this. So
I was reluctant. I
yeah,
didn't want to like it, and I didn't like it.
yeah. This
I
is
think as funny as we usually are, that's probably just as how controversial as we are this week. So I'm pretty sure y'all find some themes to argue with us about. So I look forward to some conversations that we will
yeah.
have. But hey, you can find me Derrick_OTS DERRICK. But more so, please follow the brand at OTS Media Co. All social media platforms. Check us out on our website otsmediaco.com. We have a lot of different articles. You can check out the different shows we have. We have a lot of stuff coming to you guys this summer. Let me say summer. I'll just say summer just for just so I can give myself some time, some grace. But you guys will be finding out there's some news coming out in the next week or two about fans. I know a lot of people have been asking about that, where that show has been. So we have some updates for you and some good news for you. So please check it out. Keep an eye out, and I think we'll be making an announcement on Past the Aux this coming week. So yeah, definitely check it out. But please leave us a rating or review. Let us know what you guys think about Realish. Please follow us on all social media platforms again. And thank you for watching and or listening. And we will catch you guys next week.
Okay. Thank you guys. See you next week.